Hello everyone, my name is Bindira Moharisan and my student ID is PVS2247. Today I am going to give a presentation on issues on cash flow statement. Let's start with the introduction. This presentation reflects the practical uses of the income statement and cash flow statement, which uncovers the story behind the numbers presented in the cash flow statement. From this, a sound knowledge has been developed over the operating activities, investing activities, and financing activities of all the three companies like BSB Limited, Santos Limited, and Fantastic Limited for the accounting year 2017, 2018, and 2019. Now the literature review for examining the component of income statement and cash flow statement. According to the VOS 2020, the income statement and cash flow statement are two of the key financial statement representing the two significant perspectives of the company's financial health. Income statement presents the financial performance of the company in terms of net earning ability. First comes the importance of income statements to the investors. Before making any investment decision in any company, or investors try to investigate the financial performance of the company. Companies making financially sound performance are supposed to be good investment. Now the major sources of cash and its uses for three different companies. For BSB Limited, cash flow are from selling inventories, collecting cash from account receivables, dividends, selling investment assets, and major cash outflows are like interest payment, tax, and purchase of property, repayment of liability, and buy bank senior debt and equity holders. And similarly for the Fantastic Limited, it receives from the customers tax refunds, new borrowings, new share issues at the beginning of the year, and the sources of outflow are payment to the employees and suppliers, payment of interest and other financial costs, purchasing property, plant and equipment, and other tangible assets. Repayment of the commercial-based security deposit payment, and lastly, share issue related to cost are the major figures. Major source of cash for the Santos includes receipts from the customer, interest received, dividends received, pipeline tariffs, and other receipts, insurance proceeds, proceeds from disposal of non-current assets, and proceeds from the disposal of subsidiaries. And cash outflows include payment to the suppliers and employees, restoration of expenditure, exploration, evaluation, and studies, royalty and excise payment, borrowing cost payment, and income tax payment, and investing activities like explorations and evaluation assets, oil and gas assets, other land building, and plant and equipment purchases. Now the graph shows the trend in the cash flow from the operation for the BHP Limited for the year 2016, 2017, 2018, and 2019. And this graph shows the trend in cash flow from the operation for a Fantastic company for the year 16, 17, 2018, 2019. And this graph shows the trend in cash flow from the operation for 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, which increases from 2016 to 2019 very significantly. Now, this is a comparison between the cash flow from the operation and with the net income after tax in the income statement for the BHP. Now, this is about the firm if the firm is able to generate enough cash for operations to pay all its capital expenditures. For BHP Limited, cash generated from operation amounts to $23,420, $22,949, and $18,612 starting from the year 2019 to 2017 consecutively, whereas net investing cash flows continuing operation amounts from $7,377, $5,060, and $3,724, which indicates capital expenditures from investing activities is far lower than cash inflows from the operation, and concludes that BSV had a sufficient cash to meet the capital expenditure. This is a table to compare the cash flow from the operation dividend paid by the companies for BHP, Santos, and Fantastic in millions. Now the firm's excess money from the operation and its uses. If the company had enough or excess cash flows from operation to meet the daily cost, the company could have invested the money for short-term investment purpose. Short-term security investment or investment stock market could have been better option for investment. On the other hand, if there has been any shortage of cash, then the company could have financed it by borrowing from company. The stock issues can also be an option, but it is lengthy procedure for the company. borrowing for short term from bank is by far the best option for any company. Now, is the firm using working capital as alternative of cash and cash equivalent or uses of cash? For the BSP, it's a comparatively large in size, but in comparative to its size, the company's working capital figure is very much little in the amount. The key figures include account receivable, trade and other receivables, inventories, trade and other payables. The figure and the balance of this source is not sufficient for the company to enable to finance cash needs. On the other hand, cash and cash equivalent at the beginning of the accounting year was 15,813 in 2019, 14,108 in 2018, and 10,276 in 2017. This amount is very sufficient for the year to continue operations. Now, major items that may cause flow of these forms for the BSP is include depreciation, amortization expense, income tax and royalty related cash payment, interest payment, purchase of property, plant and equipment include outflows of 6,250. Apart from these, share buyback, interest-bearing liability payment at debit. For Santos Limited, major cash flow include receipt from the customers, payments to suppliers and employees, and repayment of borrowing. Major cash flows for the Fantastic Limited include receipt from the customers, payments to suppliers, employees, proceeds from share issues, and lastly, the payment of the commercial bills. Now, the trend in capital expenditure for these firms. The BSP incurred purchases of property, plant and equipment, 6,250 in 2009, 4,979 in 2018, and 3,697 in 2017. This is the main source of capital expenditure. Apart from this, exploration amounts to $873, $874, $960 over the last 3 years. Santos Limited did not occur any capital expenditure because there was no purchase of fixed assets. The same in case of Fantastic Limited, it did not have any capital expenditure in the last 3 years in the form of property or any tangible assets. This is a bar chart to represent the dividend trend for BSP Limited and Santos Limited. The evaluation of the financial strength of these three companies bases its case for flows. Liquidity. BSP is comparatively a stronger financial condition in terms of considering its liquid. The company and adequate even after providing all cash outflows to pay the current liabilities for taking short-term investment opportunity. On the other hand, Fantastic and Santos are in weak financial standing in terms of considering liquidity position. Solvency. Solvency denotes the ability to pay the debt. Despite having a comparative good financial position, Santos and BSP do not take any loan, whereas Fantastic did. This may cause the company's financial position to go worse on being unable to meet the obligations. Now, the another strength is efficiency. The operating profit margin to BHP is increasing year by year, but compared to BSP, Fantastic Limited's operating profit margin is not increasing steadily. Santos, on the other hand, is doing steadily good. This indicates the superiority of management. Now, another strength is profitability. BSP and Santos have remained excellent. Fantastic has inflated its income by incorporating loan forgiveness as income. Though this is not a recurring source of income, it has been shown in the income statements as operating income. In evaluating financial strength, one thing has to be kept in mind: a company should try to increase its income from its recurring source. The selection of company based on the lending purpose. When evaluating companies for lending, the security of principal and interest is must. So before providing a loan to any of these three companies, the loan should be extended with good financial standing. For the BSP company is comparatively in good financial because it has a low debt equity profile, and top of that, the amount of borrowing it has is being repaid annually. That apart, it has a good and increasing net operating income. The selection of the company based on lending purpose for the Santos is also a good company to provide a loan, but when compared to BSP, its financial position is comparatively weaker. Whereas the company Fantastic is doing worse in terms of considering its growth of operating income. The operating cash flow is declining and some non-operating income from non-recurring sources has been included to inflate the income. More of the income of these two are from the non-recurring source. This may not continue in a long run. Any sudden decrease in income will affect the company's ability to meet its debt obligation. So on all the basis, the company BSP is a good choice for the lender to provide a loan. Now, at the conclusion, the cash flow statement and income statement provides useful insight into the company. The information presents often are of use importance to user support inside and outside of the organization. From both of these statements, the financial performance of the company can be predicted if looked into details. This talk has been a wonderful experience concerning being able to apply the theoretical knowledge into practice. Now, these are the list of the references I used. Thank you.